be remembered for good. God bless you. Looking forward to partnering with you and tuning in to Wake Up Africa Morning Show.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for your time. Have you heard stories like what I have heard, where understandably so, a young man who was an engineer here in Ghana finally made it to the United States of America specifically, and soon recognized and acknowledged that almost all the thing he had learned here, practically is different. Of course, it's not even a jurisdictional issue. The issue of just what was studied cannot be connected to the job market. So what you studied here, and that's why you hear there was this particular controversial one that Mr. Senyo Hosi had said at some point on the campus and one of the halls of the University of Ghana. I had to mention the name, of course, because it's of public concern, where he mentioned that what we study in school, with what the job is out there, there's a vast difference. How about we talk about that today? Let's have a quick conversation on that. Let's open our eyes to what the graduate skill and the job markets, whether or not there's a gap, or is just the people who come out of these places that, like me, are not very serious, or better still, the job market is just changing, and so these skills will also change. My guests are some of my very favorite people. Mami Ekoa Gezi is the people enabler. She joins us. Anytime you see her here, you should be thanking God. And so we thank God for her life in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Mr. John Apia is the president of African Chamber for Youth Development, and also the fighter for women, Biadela, is also here. She fights for women and children at large. Thank you very much. We are grateful. We're grateful to all of you for coming. But of course, I hope all of you are fine. And
we are very well, by God's grace.
Absolutely. We missed you the other day.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Some other demands called. Yes, but I'm here today.
Yes, we're excited. And that's why we're excited about it. But let me start with you, Mr. Apia.
Yes, sir.
I painted a picture earlier, the issue of what really is the problem. Is it the case of the skill ever changing? The job marketing ever changing, or the schools are just churning out things that probably will not fit in the market?
I know I'll sound very controversial.
Please do.
After here, I'll make enemies. I think that with the personal experience I've had,
right,
there are a number of factors that come into play. Most of the time, we blame the institutions, and then we let go easily the graduates who come out of the institutions.
Okay.
Because on these same institutions, there are people doing great things, amazing things, who are happily employed and rising rapidly in the corporate world.
Right.
So that, for me, draws my attention that at a point, it goes beyond the school you attended or what you were taught in the school.
Okay.
And I've had practical experiences where people who were trained as engineers are doing marvelously well in, let's say, marketing.
Okay.
I have seen situations where medical doctors have transitioned from medicine into another sphere of profession, and they are doing very well, right? So all of these, when I think about it, sometimes makes me think that we place too much emphasis on the schools rather than focusing so much on the people in the school.
Okay.
Look, there are serious people and there are not serious people.
Okay.
And there are some people that just go to school because they have to go to school and get a certificate.
That's right.
And if you are an employer and you start recruiting, you begin to realize that that manifests so many times.
That's right.
Because you can have about 10 people from the same institution with the same class, qualification, and certificate. But amongst them, you find that there are people that stand out. And most of the time, it goes beyond what they learned in school. So I admit, there's more the schools can do. But there's so much more that the graduates themselves will have to do to make themselves employable.
That point is very interesting until such a time where you look at the numbers and what the average is. And so there are very exceptional people who probably can switch between, endeavors. So I can do well here, and if you put me somewhere else, I can do. But when the numbers are that huge, for instance, you're looking at droves where some of them cannot even write CVs, cannot put together, things. And the job itself, no matter how much they train them, they are not able to come to terms. It does not again speak to the issue of individuality. It talks about the system, doesn't it?
And a system where the schools are just a part of.
A huge part of.
Yes, but not the dictator of all of it.
Okay.
So we have to come to terms with the fact that when you look into the job market, there are skills that will come and go. The schools are educating people, in my view, especially at the first degree or any level of tertiary, to just be able to think. There are specialized courses. We have medicine, we have legal, we have very specialized, but a lot of the programs we do in school at the first level is just to open your mind up to what's possible and the ability to think through terms, think through theories, think through a lot of instances, is the ability to think through, analyze, and produce what you get out of it. So those who get that basic concept are the ones that he has described. My brother is talking about people who understand that the first degree in itself is a certificate for you to be able to think. That's it, basically. It doesn't offer you the opportunity to be able to get a job in any particular instance. Now, if you look at the 2023 statistics, where we're standing close to 20% unemployment. Meanwhile, I know people, and myself, we put out job vacancies, and it takes us forever to fill. ICT roles, even communication roles. Meanwhile, you're hearing a lot of young people rattling English, doing videos. Ask the same person to do one email, one letter, and there will be a problem. There are lots of job vacancies in construction fields, in engineering fields. I've been looking for an IT person who can do both front and end and part for about 3 months now. Either the person is not too excited about the money, the person is not sure they want to put themselves out because they can see that you'll be demanding, and rightly so, or the person just decides that, so there are gaps, but to swell everything on top of the educational institutions will let the conversation be skewed unfavorably to us.
Before Biadela comes in, you see, I want us to stay here.
Yeah.
The ability to think,
Yes.
is for me where I want us to dwell on.
Okay.
How you are taught to think elsewhere is different from here.
Yes.
And I've not gone to school outside Ghana, but my friends and families have gone. And they'll tell you how here probably is more ability to recall.
Yeah.
So the thinking, yes, is there. You go to degree, yes, you are taught so and so. You have to just come and write exams. Elsewhere, the assessment is different.
Yeah.
And it encourages more critical thinking rather than the thoughts. That's where I'm coming from. I don't know if you...
Yes, no, from that point, I understand you.
Right.
You're speaking very well, right? So, indeed, there's a lot more that the educational institutions can do.
Right.
And even there's more that the lecturers involved in engaging with students will have to do to improve the outcomes. Because at the end of the day, if it's just chew and pour, I remember my primary days, I used to recite 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. Without even thinking about it, was just like routine, right? But there is more, especially to the teaching,
right,
that makes a big difference, right? So as we go on, I'm sure we'll propose some solutions.
Yes.
But one of the core things we need to understand is that, yes, the educational institution as a whole has a part to play, and even the lecturers involved. Because some of them, unfortunately, just come and rattle and go. They don't care. At the end of the month, they'll be paid.
Yeah.
He's a consultant somewhere. So this
you.
30 minutes, 1 hour won't do anything to him. And even the way we are examined, the questions we are asked, and all that comes into play. You have a good point, but let's go ahead.
So, I mean, we'll lay that aside.
Yes.
Let's not lay the educational whatever aside and come back to practical now.
Well, yeah, but I'm more interested in, you mentioned that the educational bit is there, and then what the job market also wants. But then you are looking at the graduates. There are certain things that they themselves need to do, certain skills that they need to pick up themselves. By way of education, can you just spread that on the table? I'm a graduate, I'm out of school. Maybe I did marketing or communication. I mean, you get a lot of that these days. And then I'm looking for a job, maybe regular place, telco. Right. But then I come for the interview, and it looks like I said, what you ordered versus what you ordered. They're two different things. So I'm a graduate. What do I do? What do I pick up? Outside the classroom that makes me stand out.
I agree. Good question. Right. Let me start from this way. Sometimes I think that it's too late when you graduate and start looking for these skills.
Great.
Because right from the first year, your mindset should be that beyond what you are taught in the classroom, there are other skills you are picking. And there are some of the skills you can't read and memorize and display. You have to practically put it into use. So, for example, something as simple as being part of internship programs right from your first year, it gives you that exposure into the world of work. You get to understand how things work in the world of work. So right from first year, you have a different mindset compared to somebody else who will not do any internship, get visa and travel to Abuja to go and work and bring money into the system. That is where the difference starts coming in. So most of the skills, I will say that right from the first year, you as an individual should make up your mind that you're going to pick up other skills that may not be necessarily handed over to you in the classroom, right? And internships is a very good example to build that. But because of the question, let's assume you didn't do any of these things and you've graduated. One other thing you can do to help yourself is to look for volunteering jobs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because if I'm an employer, I can't afford to pay you so much money for you to come and use my job as try and error.
That's right.
No. But if you are volunteering, at least there are some spaces and there are some lapses that we can gloss our eyes over and not take it very seriously. So you look for volunteering opportunities, first of all. Because most of the young graduates are now, they are money focused, like my sister said.
They
are looking at the salary. They are looking at the salary. In fact, I know one young graduate who's been struggling to get a job, and I was able to connect her to another opportunity. And she tells him that, oh, Sika would say, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm in my mind.
She's thinking she has to pick a car to work every day.
Of course.
She's not willing to do church, my dear. She wants to Uber in.
Can you imagine? Because you see, the whole point is that I realized that as for work, you need to get in to get better opportunities. Because the longer you stay outside, the rustier you become.
That's true.
So half a loaf is better than none. You are staying home without anything coming in, and somebody is willing to give you something that will at least bring in something into your hand. We talk about experience and job opportunities. People are looking for people with experience. If you don't start, where do you get the experience from? Right? So something like just volunteering and saying that, yes, I'm a graduate from school. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to do more. Just give me the opportunity. And the painful thing for me is that national service, people don't take it seriously at all. One whole year where even without any pulling any strings, you are placed in a place to go and work. And people say that, oh, I was placed in a school, so, oh, I'm just sent to buy watchy, I'm just doing photocopy. I did my national service in a secondary school. And the skills I picked up whilst as a teacher compared to somebody who was in the bank are remarkable differences. You get it. So I think that the national service thing, people will have to take it very seriously. And even employers will have to place premium on it.
That's true.
You don't say that, oh, wait, this is a national service, let him go and do the photocopy. Give them the opportunity to learn. Because essentially government is paying for their salaries or their monthly allowance. Yours is to ensure that you are taking advantage of the human resource. And your contribution to Ghana is that you are building people that even if they are not employed with you, they can go out there and get a job. So let's make it simple, national service. Let's look at it critically. It can make a difference.
Yadela is taking Trotro from Asofan to work. And
Where is Asofan?
You're
You
getting
also
on
asking
geography.
me.
Where Chantan?
So I also say Asofan. There's Asofan in Accra. You do
I've
Asofan.
heard of it, except I don't know exactly where it is.
It's Nuha.
Amazing.
Anyways, I want us to do the internship thing more. And of course, if you have any thoughts or probably on what Biadela also had to say in terms of how to face that particular job, which is in front of you, before we go deeper into the nuances.
Yes. So when you get into the university space, what you hear, or tertiary, what do you see a lot of the young people looking for is jobs in the big multinationals, the banks, the big establishments.
That's ambitious enough.
Yeah, but it's good to be ambitious. But I can assure you that that's where you go and do photocopies. That's where you go and get to buy Coffee Brookman and watch it in the morning. Because in these organizations, the work structures are very filled to the brim.
Right.
People are specialized. Have you thought of marketing student? This is the digital world. I am on vacation. I'm struggling because, employers as well are looking, even if the person comes to volunteer, it's not for free.
Right.
you can't, as an employer, watch a young person go and come for 2 months, 3 months with nothing. So there's a cost to it.
Right.
There's a cost to you coming to sit in my office. I have to provide you a workstation.
That's right.
The AC is on. You're consuming. So a lot of them are moving away from internships that do not serve them just for the sake of supporting other people. Now, what I keep telling people in my career cafe sessions is, look in your environment. There's a dressmaker. There's a hairdresser. There are people selling. There's a vegetable seller. What if you just went to them and offered to do things like just starting pages for them? I will do your IG page for you. What you get to do is, this is in your environment. 1, you understand the ecosystem they're selling in. 2, you don't have to necessarily get onto a vehicle to go to work. 3, these people actually appreciate what you're doing because they don't have anything.
Exactly.
Mind you, in a multinational and a very well established, there's an agency doing all of that. So either you are put in that space to support, or you will just be there, no matter how creative you are. So I said, go around, do a video of the woman's stall. The hairdresser is doing, somebody said, go and take a video. Help them to start a page, put it on, and help them to maybe boost it $1, $2, and they begin to see the views. When you come for an interview, and you have a second-class upper, second-class lower, and I ask you, why do you think this role fits you? Even though you've done marketing, you might have even done engineering, and you tell me that, oh, Miss Gazy, when I was during in school during vacations, this and these are what I, and you show me evidence. Marketing job now you go get.
So.
Over the person that has gone to sit somewhere in a big establishment and not done anything. So there are lots of opportunities to learn the skills that we overlook.
Right.
I'm telling you, I took my internship as a form of education. So I'll go into a space and my mindset is that as I'm coming, I'm getting educated for free, practically. So my fees is the time and the transportation I put into this. Right. And so I didn't expect anything. And because of that, I put myself in the way of what jobs are available. Now, on any job, please, what's happening? I'll help. What are you doing? And readiness to learn. Because you have a lot of young people who go to do internships. 3 hours of the morning are on TikTok. In the afternoons, they want somebody to send them for lunch. And as you're sending the person, they want you to also buy lunch for them. Yes.
And if you don't,
if you don't, then you're looked in a certain way. So if you're asking about opportunities to build up the skills that are not readily taught in schools, there are opportunities we can grab.
I see. That reminds me, if I'm someone who doesn't want to buy the food, that means I'm an Anglo man. You know what they think about Anglo men.
Very
It
proud.
would have been very bad on my part. Very, very bad. The point of, let's look at what's happening right now, and I want to use practical examples to cite this scenario. We're bringing Indians in.
Yes.
We're bringing
Filipinos.
Okay.
Yes.
Who else? Which nationals are we also? There are some people, even with the
Artisans.
exactly. Togolese are coming in.
Beninois.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's missing? There's a missing link.
Yes.
There's a missing link.
Yes.
So our people, and when you talk of the telcos, I'm told that when they come, actually they are not better than our people. My people in there say we are the ones who train them, and then they come up above us.
Okay.
What are we missing?
So 2 things for me. 1, over a period of time, there's a lot of focus on certificates as compared to skills.
Yeah.
So you can be a first-class engineer, but will not know how to tighten a bolt or do a simple engineering exercise.
I'm like,
seriously.
that's scary.
And it's, again, because of the way we're examined, our educational system is so define what a bolt is.
That's right.
What's the difference between a bolt and a junction? And you can rattle it and go away. But you see, most of these international people coming in, they are extremely practically focused.
Right.
So they have the theory and they also have the practicals.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is attitude. Unfortunately, the attitude of some of us is what is making it difficult for us to get a job. Because somebody will say proudly that I'd rather bring a foreigner to manage my business because I know they are trustworthy, they will come to work on time, they are not envious, they are not jealous, and they are hardworking. Unfortunately, that is what it is. Because like you said, what they know, we also know.
Yes.
What they do, we can do.
Yes.
But the attitude part, because I know people who go to work and they try to do as little as possible to get as much as possible at the end of the month. They dodge work. I mean, it's a strategy. And it's unfortunate. These young people, they know that, maybe boss A likes a lot of work. So when boss A is around, he moves to another side, avoiding him as much as possible. But you see, some of these people that come in from in the international realms, they come in and they want a job. They want work to do. How many young people can walk up to their boss and say, boss, it looks like today I'm not doing anything.
Can I get something?
What can I do? Rather, what we say is that today is a holiday. AC on 16, Netflix flowing, a day inside, cool.
Internet free. No scrolling.
So I think that the attitude problems we need to pay attention to and help our people get the right mindset, right? That mindset that is progressive, that mindset that will set you apart. And that excuse is, I'm sick today, I'm going to work. My mother's brother's auntie has been bereaved and I need 3 days off work. So at the end of the day, the productivity is so low. But these foreigners will come and they are fixated on doing the job, making sure the work is done.
Holiday.
Everything. Do you get it? So we need to really speak to our people that we need to change our attitude. We need to be able to have the proper mindset that allows productivity to happen.
I see. The job market and the school,
Skills, the
school. So you always hear, there's a gap, we need to bridge it and all of that. Yet when I enter an interview room today, I'm asked the same questions that are based on ability to recall. Yet my friends who go out there and look for jobs, and I know of a friend who's gone to the UK, the preparation alone, and she said when she entered there, they looked at the CV. Okay, you said you were assisting somebody on an event production company. What were your duties there?
Specifically.
Tell us that. And okay, how do you bring that to if the interview panel does not continue to ask these kind of questions and continue to look out for what is on my certificate and how I can recall, we'll continue to churn these things out.
Okay,
Is that not the case?
So I'll hold brief for my HR people. Yes, we have actually shifted to competence-based interviewing.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And as I said to you, organizations call us to run interview-based, competence-based interviewing skills. It's a major thing because when you have a lot of foreign people in the organization, they get a bit stressed out. Mind you, I've been in a big establishment where the head of the technical function had only what you could equate to, it was actually a lower than HND. What? Yes. Did he know his job? Oh, yes. Could he do it? Oh, yes. Did he understand the business of his role? Oh, yes, yes. And who was he managing? Masters holding engineering people, Ghanaians. So we need to go back. If you take a university, and let's call out our universities, not in the negative, but to draw the attention to some of the things we can do differently. We have UDS in the northern part of our country. Agriculture there is the mainstay. They have quite a weather that's not allowing an all year round cultivation. We are churning out medical doctors.
That's right.
Pharmacists. And even with the agri courses, what are we doing? How about we do an agro engineering program that helps the students to support that environment on irrigation? Not irrigation that if you don't have money, you can't do it. How about doing courses that will help them to support the production through processing? By that doing, the farmer gets more, there's work in between, and we export more value-added products. Come into spaces like Ashesi. Ashesi does these things with MEST, IT-based things, but it's just Ashesi. And MEST is here. Yes, it is an international organization, but how widespread is that? How many other universities can pitch into these things and make sure that we are churning out people with relevant modern technological-based skills? Because that's what's selling. If I show you the 2025 to 2030 relevant skills right now. Civil engineering is not part of it. Because very soon, 3 people will sit in a booth with panels and order robots to build skyscrapers without stress. Does the person have to be an engineer? No, they don't. They have to understand the science behind the engineering that builds that, but they have to readily be able to manage the portals that work to manage the robots. When we take things like TVET, we've gone from COTVET to TVET to all sorts of iterations. What exactly is that doing? Let me share a short experience.
Please do.
When I was in the brewery, we decided that we wanted to establish a very strong relationship with then Accra Polytechnic. So what did we do? We got our technical managers, those who were in the technical space, to come up with a process that would allow us to partner with Accra Poly, then UMAT. UMAT for brewing side, because they teach food processing and food biology science. And these people with artisanal skills. So you have Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. Because you go, before you do your HND, then if you had to go to KNUST, you would go. We have people in the brewery right now who came through that process. Guess what? I'll go as an HR person sitting behind the door with the attachment liaisons label. Lined up students there. And what was I looking for? For individuals in those faculties to work with us to create curricula that will enable the students to learn what is relevant. So by the time I come and pull you, you know something. So the whole idea is you come in, internship, we train you, you go back, you come back until you're done with Tech 3. This is 3 years in school. You'd have done about 2.5 years in industry. By the time you come back for national service, I am sure that you are the material that I have groomed for this role. And so it's easy. You have a readily available job.
How did that go?
I don't want to say. But it was almost like we were begging for that to happen. There was in the news recently a seat, HR seat, I think it's happening today or it happened yesterday, an HR seat that's been instituted at the University of Ghana in the business school. We wanted to do the marketing version of that. If I tell you how many times I had to be going, and at the time I didn't have a car. How many times I had to be going in and out. So there is a place for, like you started with, our educational system itself to come to terms with what skills are required in this space and how can, because you can't teach all practicals as well. The people need to understand the theory behind the practice. So we need to get to a place where the educational system is not seated and enterprises are seated. There has to be a continuous conversation that's merging the two. The big part for me, these two, I can assure you from what I do, recruitment and helping people to grow, is just 20% of it. 80% is on the individual, like my brother started with. Attitude, most of it, and willingness to learn. Because the teachers and the lecturers will also tell you that we are ready to teach them. The students are not ready to learn.
Ready.
At least I share bed with one, so I can tell you what he goes through. Yes.
God. Well, if you were a pastor, Koko would have brought you his tithes, because the way you mentioned, I think 2 days ago, we're talking about it. He was talking about soft skills.
Yes, it's missing.
People just don't get it.
No.
At a point, at a point in my life, before we got into tertiary, there was this convo. Oh, this is what's paying now.
Marketing.
So people did marketing because that was what was paying.
That's right.
People went to nursing training, not because they were called for it. And there are certain jobs you have to be. It's a given.
Yeah.
People are teaching not because they can't teach, but because that's what was going to pay at the time.
Yes.
There's no place for passion. There's no place for this is what I feel I have to do. This is how I can contribute. So look at the number of people we've produced or giving to the world from institutions who probably your mother says, go be a doctor. At the point, being a lawyer was for the optics.
Yes.
How then do these people fit into your workspace and produce anything?
I think that for me, the first thing is that whatever training you have, it is preparing you to actually be able to do beyond what you have learned in the classroom. And I think that mindset is very important in helping especially our young graduates, our Gen Z people. Because I've seen people who said, I did banking and finance. I will have to necessarily work in a bank. Bank or never. And 5 years, you're still in the house saying bank or never.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
let me
they are
interrupt. The banks are looking for agric students.
Ouch.
Yes, they're recruiting agric students, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so the mindset is extremely important for people to understand that irrespective of your educational background, your willingness to learn, your readiness to avail yourself. Because there are a lot of people that have learned on the job who are now senior experts. And by virtue of them being experts, they realize that, okay, then I need to add a master's degree to it. I need to add a PhD to it. But it is in a practical professional development angle. Maybe he was trained as an engineer, but he has fallen in love with marketing or communications, and he's doing very well. So as part of his job routine, it becomes necessary for the person to add more credentials and then be able to advance, right? But I also think that the recruitment strategies too will have to change.
Yeah.
We need to have out-of-the-box kind of approach to recruitment, because there are people walking on the streets who are gifted, talented, even maybe educated.
And they have a space.
But they may never be able to end up in an interview.
Exactly.
So HR people
Going
and
to find
recruiters
them.
will have to have that open mindset. So you're in a trotro and then somebody gets a call and you listen to the way the person is speaking and engaging.
Exactly.
And you're like, hello, are you employed or what are you doing? Oh, I've been in the house for the past 5 years.
That's right.
Have you ever thought of customer service before?
That's
Why
right.
not? I'm open. I just graduated last year.
Exactly.
You know, so we need to get ambassadors and recruiters whose eyes and ears
That's
are
right.
open.
That's right.
Because some people, for some strange reasons, may never end up in the interview.
That's right.
They are gifted people.
That's right.
I know people who go recruited on an airplane because they start in the airplane with very key influencers or key people, and then maybe an issue came up and they're just having a chat, maybe about football. But the
Then the
person's
way
expression,
you know.
the person's sense of analysis, and you're like, Charlie, so what else do you do? Oh, Charlie, at their house, oh, nothing much. I say, oh, look,
Yeah, that's what
this
they
is
play
my
inside.
card. This is
Their
my
house.
card.
Yeah.
This is my card. Come and see me in the office. Let's have a
right.
conversation.
But you're
Look,
looking for people with when you see the recruitment notice,
Yes.
it's written down there with a certain number of years.
It scares them, the people
Look,
of.
let me use
Yes.
myself
I
as an
don't want to be
example.
there.
Let me give you an example. So, one of the jobs I had with an international organization, as at that time, they wanted 10 years experience.
That's right.
Hey.
I didn't even have 4 years experience, but I applied for the job because I studied the job requirements, looked at the core competencies they were looking at.
you had it.
And I realized that, yes. So the experience I had at that time, most of it was not formal experience, but I had that experience. Maybe I was teaching somewhere, I was volunteering somewhere,
Exactly.
and I picked up all those skills. So you see, people will have to understand that it's not just about being paid for a job that gives you experience. There are a lot of things you can gather outside the world of work that you can add to your CV, and when you get that opportunity, you can deliver. And look, there were people, in my opinion, I saw as big people that I knew I was not going to get a job, but eventually I got the job.
That's right.
Right? So we sometimes HR people will tell you that some of the things we just do it to screen, because other than that, even SS graduates will apply for the job.
Okay,
You know?
They still do.
They still do that. But the point is that for whoever is applying for the job, you need to be able to look at yourself, look
Right.
at the experiences you have, and just be bold and confident and put in an application. I always tell people that, look, when your CV passes the test and you get an interview, whether you end getting up the job or not, it's an experience
Yeah.
for you.
Yes.
You go to a panel and there are about 5 people there. This is firing from that angle and all that. You leave the room and you're like, I've been able to face these people.
right.
Even if you don't get the job, your next interview
You will
may be
do
closer.
better.
You'll be exactly the point.
Well, have you
Let me-
realized that
Yes, right.
there's also the role of the protocol list people, where people who actually can do the job
Yes.
are not given the nod, but people who are like from certain offices.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
coming with a certain name.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
key is a name.
That's right.
Right?
Yesterday, I made a post on social media and I had a lot of bashing. And I was like, most of the people who are pointing to leadership, it is not necessarily as a result of their competence.
No,
But
no.
because maybe the person
They went
one
to school with
related
this.
to me.
Exactly.
We went to the same school.
Or is
The
it-
person has been loyal to me.
That's right.
The person is
People
very
on the
vocal.
street.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, these people
mess up.
go in there and they mess up. And that's why the system is so messed up.
I see.
So we need to look beyond that. Even if you're on a protocol list, prove to us that you
Yeah.
can do the job.
Yeah.
There's somebody who pushed somebody to me to pick in the pharmacy, in a clinic somewhere.
Right.
And then the person came all confident, knowing that the person who's recommending is a big person in the industry.
That's right.
I give the person a piece of paper and I said, spell the following words for me: paracetamol, cough mixture, Piriton. If you look at the thing the lady wrote on the paper.
But were these the things you asked the person to spell?
Yes,
These exactly.
Exactly. I have a picture of it. I'll show it to you. And I'm like, but this is a person who has gone to a training school to learn about dispensing drugs. But you see, even though you are coming with a protocol, don't just close your eyes and say, protocol, so go and sit down and start the work.
I feel that in the month of June, I don't know what, maybe we can dedicate 4 weeks or 4 days in a month to, fix something, how people can prepare their minds. I know you guys are very expensive, but if you can help us.
It's part of
I want to go back to what Della said. So Della, in a utopian world, everybody should be following their passion and be dealing. But I'll tell you what, I teach this every day. And I tell people, if your passion ain't putting food on the table, paying the bills, clothing you, being able to pay for hospital, don't stress me with it, because we've done this and a lot of young people are working about, I'm excited that you can paint, but your paint better be so good that you can sell it.
Exactly.
So rather following your passion, this is where you found yourself. What can you do with that skill? Let me quote Dr. Ewa, Patrick Ewa of Ashesi University. He says, the seed of Ghana's prosperity lies in empowering our youth with skills that match our dreams. What is our dream as a country? I don't know. But if we're able to build the skill set to deliver that, we will go a long way. Now, if you look into things like year of return, I have a whole, so I like what you've brought up, because we want to, at 565, we want to start a whole career cafe that's looking at year of skills.
That's right.
So we had year of return, people are coming. What if we had a year of skills building, where we are bringing mentors and career guidance people to support the young people? Like he's saying, somebody may never have access to you, but has the talent and the passion for broadcasting. Now, when you are in that space and that young person, it might even be an older person than you, comes into contact with you, you can share a few nuggets so that we'll be able to. Another thing I'm looking at is a lot of these things can happen when there are enabling policy environments.
That's true.
So if we can incentivize our organizations, we're a small business. We're looking to recruit people. What do I get as a small business by wanting to take on? Because there's work. But when I look at the pay bill that is required to get those people in, then I shy off. So if as a small business, we can get some incentive to be able to bring people on. Because what we do, I'm telling you, they don't teach it in the universities. But I will be able to teach younger people to go and multiply. Imagine having hundreds of me in the system. There are a lot of other people that would be Deles, that would be Kokus, that would be my brother. And we need to create an environment where businesses are able to bring in people that will be able to learn without so much cost. Because if I'm paying these young people, imparting on them or into their lives, and my tax regime is looked at differently, not just the same as a multinational, then I'll be excited to do that. So in bridging the gap between the educational space, there are multiple players. There's governments, there's educational institutions, there are parents who think that some jobs, the white collar jobs are the go-to. But I'm telling you, some electricians in this country, now solar technicians, are making so much money.
That's right.
I
see. I'll be willing to. So there's someone watching us. There's a young person watching us who is in between. These people are speaking English a lot. It's because they are eating a lot of things and whatever. So speak to them. The person is in between jobs or is looking forward to be employed. What must the person be doing at this time? What are the opportunities available? I know we talked about internship and all of that. So let's rehash it quickly before we wrap up, so that they are prepared in their mind before getting onto the next job. So help them.
So with the African Chamber for Youth Development, there's an initiative we've started. We think that as we pay attention to helping entrepreneurs grow, we should also help people look for jobs. Because people just don't know how to look for jobs. Yesterday I had a text from someone. I said hello, I said hi. Then he didn't even mention it. I said, please, I need a job. And I said, okay. And the conversation has ended.
ended.
Well, you say you need a job. I say, okay.
Okay.
Because you've not said anything to me. You have not sent me your CV. You have not told me the area of interest you have and all that. So the whole job search thing has to there's a conscious effort to teach people how to look for jobs.
There's even a skill to look for.
Yes.
Look, there are people who don't even know
Essential.
that there are certain websites you can go to that have opportunities, and on a daily basis, job opportunities are on those websites. There are people who don't even know that, for example, you can go to events and have in mind that you're going to engage with key stakeholders who may eventually give you an opportunity. You sit in church with very powerful business people, career people, and yet still you just close, pick your Bible and go. No engagement, no interaction, nothing. So even the job search in itself is a skill that people need to learn how to work on your CVs. You have never had interview experiences, but you need to get that experience. So we'll do mock interviews and all those other things to build the confidence of people. I have seen people who are competent in an interview room shaking because they've never been to an interview scenario before. Basic questions like how much you want to be paid. And people are either overquoting or underquoting. And people are even saying in this day and age, oh, anything you give me, I'll take. You know, so there's a lot of work to be done.
It's not an offering. This is not an offering.
So what I would say to young people watching us who you have been in the house for the past months or years without the job is that, look, just psych yourself and tell yourself that you're going to build yourself beyond your certificate to be able to do well.
That's right.
And social media, 2 of the jobs I got was from social media.
That's true.
The news editor at that time was a follower or friend on Facebook. And one day just gave me a call that, John, the way you're talking and doing your things, I think you can do TV.
Right.
Why don't you give TV a shot? So you come to the office, let's talk. The person has not seen my CV, has not seen my certificate.
That's right.
But by what I was doing on social media, I know somebody who wrote an article and tagged some key people in a certain industry.
That's all.
And that's what gave them the entrance. So you are sitting home with all this knowledge. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Push yourself to be a thought leader.
Yes.
Express your opinion. There's a scandal that has happened in Ghana. What do you think should be done about it? Put your thoughts together. Well, now there's even AI to support you. Write wonderful opinions from your experience and expertise. Tag the relevant people. By the time you realize, opportunities abound. I know somebody who just did a simple design for a company, kept tagging them until they went to see the design, invited the person in, and now the person works as a brand designer in that organization. Wow. So, Charlie, opportunities here, them day. But people will need to be wild and aggressive. Don't take it that, okay, it's my mother's rich, my father can take care of me. Just be aggressive. And it will surprise you. Once you have that mindset, the door will open.
I think we need that monthly thing.
Yeah. One of the things that I always say to people is gleaning off where he landed, where mother is rich, father is rich. There's money. So you finish first degree, there are no job opportunities, and you're thinking, okay, let me use the time to go and do my master's.
Yes.
May I beg you, use that money, go and get certification in a profession.
That's right.
So if you've studied and you want to do HR, for instance, instead of going to get a master's in HR, go and do an HR certification. Professionals, there's CHIRM, there's SHRM, there's CIPD. You have finished marketing instead of going to do a master's in, because if I am recruiting for an accountant, I'll take the person who is ACCA before I look at a master's holder. I'll look any day, and you can speak to anybody. I will take a professional certified individual over a graduate certificate holding person, if all things are equal. So please, the overemphasis on, higher studies is great. I always encourage it, but let it be in skill-based, competence-based areas, and that's where your opportunities will be availed.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
There may be, just to add, the industry should also help us. They should be concerned about what is going on in the universities. They should be willing to send some of their top people to be guest lecturers, just to go and tell them what is happening in the field. And they should be willing to also sponsor research, invest money into research and development in the universities. So at the end of the day, the products that are coming out will come to help you.
Back to us.
I see. Well, let's pray and see what producer will do. We would have to have a month long of these on a whiteboard where you get to teach us.
Yeah.
2-3 people will be employed because of you people, and I'm sure God will bless you as well.
Amen.
Amen.
Mami Ekwa Gezi is a people enabler, and of course, Mr. John Appiah is with the Ghana Chamber of. I got this in my head.
African
Chamber for Youth.
Pressure.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you,
We're grateful.
Koku.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
coming.
having
Of course,
us.
our very own women and children advocates, Biadela.
From fighter to
is-
advocate.
I need to lobby
it
for a
was-
government appointment for you.
It was a fighter I said first. Fighter advocate. But of course, we're back tomorrow to do it all over again. Tomorrow is the beginning of our mental health things, right? We're talking the church prayer camp for mental health patients versus the health facilities. There's been a fight, whether subtle or whatever it is. Let's talk about that. And also, the members, the men of God themselves, vis-a-vis their members, how they relate. Sometimes they bring a lot of things on their families as well. Even they themselves, sometimes they have some issues. We'll talk about all of that and how to navigate the complexities of these issues, right?
Yes, right. So make a date with us tomorrow, right here, 6:30 to 10. See you.